Just sitting. Just sitting at my desk here. Studying. I'm studying my enemies. I am reading. I'm writing a simile. A nice paragraph. I'm an academic. Hello and welcome back to Hytale. And hello to you two as well. I know you always both love me, and I love you too equally. It was a fucking lie. It was a goddamn lie. In today's episode, we are going to go over to the Port Haven by just transferring through this nice, convenient teleportation. And I'll show you what I've done a little bit off camera. I've done a little bit of shaping. I put some vines on, and I made the greenhouse area pretty much an entirety of windows here. But the interior of the building is still very, very barren. We haven't done anything. So that is what we are going to be doing today. There's also a little backdoor exit here I made. It's a very, very, very simple thing. I also did a little bit of weathering. This doesn't look particularly great. It doesn't blend in as well as some of my other weathering jobs. I don't know. It's like the plaster, the paint has fallen off, and we see the brick and the original color underneath. But yeah, that's the idea. But today we shall be doing lots and lots of decorating, but also, and most importantly, we will be exploring this little, what would you say, workstation, this little altar, this little blood sacrifice altar to the Illuminati, you can see. Look at that, you filled it up with blood. Virgin baby blood, adrenochrome, I believe it's called, and you can make freaking sick-ass potions. That's my guess anyways. I'm just going off of intuition here. I still don't really know how to make any of these things. What are the ingredients? Mostly flowers, it looks like. Which works out perfectly because we are going to be making a bunch of hanging potted plants here. I think that's what I'm going to start doing right now. So I'm going to get some rope and some platforms. Let us see what we have. One diagonal rope. So that's probably not enough. Ooh, we don't even have any platforms. They must all be back at the house. Okay, well, I'm very underprepared for this episode, but that's okay. That's okay. Don't go into Trump, dude. It's a crutch. You're a freaking hack. Dude. You're a goddamn hack. So I had a bunch of flower pots that I wanted to use. So I wanted some hanging plants. How would I do these exactly? Well, first of all, let us have a bit of a countertop here that goes around the bottom, the base. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some countertops. Maybe we'll do just a small one here and place that down. I'm not seeing a lot of contrast here, which I'm not liking. I definitely want more contrast. Just a little bit, something like that. And then we'll have a few more over here. Yeah, I do like that. That looks good. I like the 3 there. That looks real nice. Now, what I want to do is I want to make like these shelves, basically. What's going on? You can't place them there. Okay. What if we do hang them from rope? Okay, let's do this. And then hopefully, hope to goodness this works. And it doesn't. Damn, I'm so surprised by that. Need to be on solid block. Seriously? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, alternative plan. We have like something like this. And we have like a bamboo block right here. I guess I don't hate that. Oh, something like this. Does that do anything for you? This look freaking good. Do you like this? I also just realized I don't like them there. They need to be on the one over. Okay, what does this look like from the mezzanine? Looks like a weird-ass hanging shelf. Perhaps we'll do... Here we go. Bamboo half slabs. Yes. Oh, yes. These are much better. And the purpose of these guys is that these are also going to have an array of different flowers on them. So then we have this and this. I do want to use majority of this pink stuff. These pink ones, these clay ones. They just look better. Okay, what does that look like? I do like the unevenness of it. I think that looks pretty cool. Keep in mind, this is mostly decorative. I might make a little garden in the back. Since there's a back door, those will actually act as our farm for the flowers that we're going to use for our potion. But right now, this is like purely aesthetic. Okay. You know what? I've come up with a decision. I do not like the hanging down ones. They need to be more into the center. Do they? Or am I just like schizoing out right now? Is it a big deal? These are pretty close to each other, and I do not like that.
I don't like that at all. So let's not do that. Okay, let's move them closer to the center. Holy shit. I don't know if this is a glitch or not. Yeah, look at that. Floating platforms. Goddamn. That actually kind of looks cool. I do kind of like how uneven it is. I'm a fan of non-symmetricalness. I like things a little bit aesthetically off-centered, or not really off-centered, more like just I'm not a big fan of symmetrical builds because they're boring. Okay, well now that is done, you know what? Maybe we'll make like a little bench here. Will be where they're potting some plants or what have you. There we go. Little workstation right there. Speaking of which, should the alchemist table, the alchemist workbench, should that just be right here? Something like this. No. Kind of would want it to be more in the center, but it is a 2 and we have a 3 here, so we'll be off-centered. Something like that. And it needs to go back one. That. Here we go. This is the area. This is the potion workstation. I think it will look cool. I think this looks really cool. And you know what? And just like in Kiki's delivery service, her mom has a big greenhouse where she makes all her potions, and it's just head to toe covered in random shit, random greenery hanging from the ceiling. We are going to obviously do the same. I remember these actually can't go in flower pots, but I want to check if they can now, because I feel like it's just something they would update and you could make ferns and what have you go into flower pots, because it's just so weirdly stupid that you can't do that. I think my favorite block in this game, by far, is ivy. My favorite decoration is just putting ivy everywhere. It makes everything look so pretty. I'm a slut for pretty shit. I like my pretty shit. Bam. Keep it like that. Lots of greenery. And then I did bring this stuff as well. I have this moss. I think this will look good hanging down from the ceilings. What about these? Can we now put these in planter pots? Okay, Hytale. This peeves me freaking off. Why on earth would you ever make it so that you can't put a bush in a pot? That doesn't make any sense, man. All right, so that is going to be it for greenery, I suppose. Let's work on planting some flowers. I'm actually very excited for this point because I think it's just going to add so much color in this area. I'm so flippin' hyped. Okay, they're all locked, which means that we're going to have to upgrade our thing here. So we're going to have to really say this is the place for the alchemy table, which, you know what? I think it is. I think this looks super sick. What did we need to upgrade it? It was like silver, gold, an emerald, and 10 of the venom sacks. Okay. I have one of those. I have gold, and I have so much silver, it's not even funny. And then there was void, which looked like a lot of the shit took void, but I'm just gonna take all my essence. But first of all, let us upgrade the alchemy table. Oh yeah. Oh, what is this? A zephyr? Was there a golem in the other? There was. Did he drop a zephyr and I didn't pick it up? I don't know. I think he drops sapphires, so I'm actually not too sure where the hell you get a zephyr from. Well, for now, we're going to create blood rose seeds. So we're gonna do one here. Oh my god, you can't even do this shit. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. So then now we definitely need a little garden here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Like, I guess I don't even know if I'm gonna keep this, honestly, but here we go. Let's just do this. Oh, what? Crystallized dirt. Shit. Is one of these crystallized? Poison dirt, marble dirt, gravel, what's that, you know? Is there crystal dirt inside of the alchemy table and I just didn't look for it? Let's see. Can you make crystal dirt from this thing? Oh, unless it's like, oh, crystallized fertilizer bag. That would make sense. Let me get some shit from the lighthouse. What we got tons of this stuff. Okay, here we go. How many did you make from that? You only get one. Holy crapola. Okay. That is a lot of shards. 25? That's insanity. Oh, okay, here we go. Got its little crystalline essence to it. I just realized that I really am committing to this. So first of all, I'm just going to do the middle ones, because I think those are the safest. Nice. I might make another watering can. Actually, you know what? I think I saw something... Well, no, I saw a YouTube video, and it was like... shit works the same like it does in Minecraft, where it's like if something's next to a water source, tilled ground is next to a water source, that will then stay permanently watered. At least that's what I heard. So let's see, maybe we'll make like a cute spring. Oh damn. I don't know if I want to risk it. Will it give me the crystalline dirt back? It doesn't give me the seeds back. That's for sure. Okay. Do I risk it? I'm risking it. Oh good, it gives it back. Okay, that's very nice. That is nice of you, Hytale. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so I want to make like a little spring, I guess. It will come out of here. Will this work? Is it just like a sustaining property of it? Or will it actually work here? Unless it has to be full blocks. Or does the... Maybe I watched a video from an older update. Okay. Honestly, I don't think this matters all that much. We're fine. There we go. And are those watered? Oh, you know what? These actually don't look like they need to be watered. Either that or they are just watered. Alright, well, let me go to sleep and see if they're going to be grown all up in the morning. Oh, look, they're budding! Okay, shit. We got some sprouts. Goddamn! Alright, these might actually take a while to grow. Harumph. Hey, you know, I just kind of came up with an idea here. This is a crazy idea. I don't know if this is real. It might not work, but let's say I make some of this stuff. What if I fertilize these things? Never mind. Okay. Well, it was an idea. For now, I'm just gonna actually check out if I have any blood roses or any cool flowers in my chests. Oh look, I have a blood rose here. Okay. And what is this? Azure fruit? Alright, so I have a few flowers that I'm just going to start planting in here from my earlier ventures. We will plant a blood rose just right here. What the fuck is wrong with you, Hytale? My whole plan was to put flowers in flower pots, but apparently that's illegal in Hytale. You don't put flowers in flower pots. What the hell? How stupid is that? Are you for realsies? Guess I'll just put that there. Blood rose. That's gotta be changed in the future. Why can't you put everything in a freaking flower pot? That makes no sense. I think maybe this. That's kind of cool. I like how it kind of like hangs over. Doesn't have much color though. Hoping for some like colorful flowers and shit. All right, new plan. I'm gonna go to Agartha. And you know what? I'm actually gonna bring a teleporter to Agartha. Just gonna start harvesting a bunch of these flowers because these look really good. Especially, look at these. What is these? Camellias or something? Yeah, camellia. Those are gonna look good. I'll need to harvest a bunch of those. I watched a movie the other day. You can scratch this off your bingo card. I already mentioned a Ghibli film, but now I'm also mentioning just a random movie I watched. I don't know. I wanna talk about movies. You know, I wanna be able to contemplate out my thoughts and maybe criticisms of movies a bit better, and then also have a nice little discussion, like a one-sided discussion that I will just spew out at you, and you will take it. These will be my Marcus's movie moments. Marcus's movie moments. Gotta have the alliteration. But anyways, yes, I watched a movie that was only an hour long. It was called Amazing Digital Circus: The Last Act. Yes, indeed, I did watch it. So I've been keeping up with Amazing Digital Circus for a while. I have a kind of an interesting relationship with it. I did watch it, the first episode when it came out on YouTube, and I actually watched the first 3 episodes as they came out, but I wasn't really fully into it, unfortunately. The reason being is, like, I thought it was okay. I didn't really have any criticisms, no outright criticisms of the first 3 episodes. I just kind of felt like it's okay, you know? It's like maybe I had some few tonal problems with the first episode. I think that criticism is mostly retroactive, though. Other than that, I watched them. I was like, wow, okay, new indie cartoon. I always love watching the new indie cartoon, you know? I'm a big cartoon nut. So I was keeping up with it for a bit, but then I kind of I fell off. I didn't watch episode 4 or 5. I completely forgot about the show entirely until episode 6 came out, and it just randomly showed up in my recommendation, and I was just like, what the hell? Why don't I watch episode 6? And goddamn, I fell head over heels. I was madly in love. I thought episode 6 was funny. The jokes were funny. I was laughing out loud. by myself, and also I was like interested in the story somehow. Basically, episode 6 was so good that I retroactively became a super fan. I was invested in all of the freaking lore, and I even liked the characters. I like Caine and Caine and Pomni. Those are my favorite characters. I could give or take any of the others. My least favorite is Jax. I really do not like Jax, and I'll get into that more later. But yeah, I became like a big fan. Ever since episode 6 happened, I was like, wow, I'm blown away. I think this show is legitimately great. I was watching so many YouTube shorts about goddamn shit that happened with the creator and stuff. I became attuned that the fandom is like actual booger AIDS cancer. I didn't know that before. I also didn't know how popular it was when I first watched it, because when I first watched it, I remember being like, god damn, it got like 10 million views in the first like couple days, and I was very surprised. But I didn't know, like, coming back to the show, it has like 200 million views on the pilot episode. It is insane, and it is so cool. It is absolutely so cool that an indie animated cartoon became that big. That became so big that it, in fact, was able to show up in theaters as well. So episode 7 came out, and I thought it was even better than episode 6. And then episode 8 came out, and I was like, this is also a very good episode. I don't know if it's better than episode 7. But I do think it is very good. Episode 8 is a banger. And I made plans to go watch it in theaters, but unfortunately, goddamn, we tried to, but the entire theater was like sold out. Like, goddamn, the power of freaking autism was the most lucrative thing ever. If you ever want to make something huge, cater to people with autism. They sold out the theater, and then we never really rescheduled to make a new date. So I just waited until it was on YouTube, and I watched episode 9. The finale, the last act, a full hour-long episode that I was anticipating so much. I was freaking shaking in my goddamn boots. I was so happy. And I didn't like it. I haven't seen that much negative about it, but I certainly feel pretty negative about that finale. So yeah, I'm gonna do some freaking hot, stanky, spicy takes. We're gonna have some spicy Chipotle the night before takes, okay? Some bowl speckling, spicy takes. I be painting that porcelain like I'm Jackson Pollock, okay? This shit is straight off the dome. Amazing Digital Circus gay? Did you ever think of that? But you know what? I only criticize it because I love it, okay? I am a big fan of Amazing Digital Circus. I'm a gay. I'm a big gay lord now. I don't normally spoil anything on this channel because I do want you to go see it, but it's out of theaters now and it's free on YouTube, so there's no really stopping you. So I'm just gonna spoil the shit out of episode 9 for you. So yeah, if you want to skip my spoiler of episode 9 of The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act, go to this timestamp now because I am going to be spoiling basically the entire show. Alright, so episode 9. Episode 9 is a mess. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Pacing is horribly slow. The elevation of intrigue is not to be seen, and it is chocked to the gosh darn brim. It is brimming. It is overflowing with what I call melodrama. That's my word. I made that one up. But you know what? I will give Amazing Digital Circus The Last Act a W, because I do think that the first 5 minutes of this 56-minute movie are pretty damn good, okay? I think they do some pretty cool shit. I was very aware that they were going to be brain scans from pretty much episode 1. Like, I've seen this shit before. I've watched a science fiction before. The concept isn't novel, and also I felt like it was a little obvious. I was actually surprised to find out that there were so many theories about like what the characters in the show were, or if they were like in tanks or anything. That pretty much gets completely disproven in episode 7, but I'm pretty sure that the majority of everybody knew that they were brain scans and put into a computer. I think that was generally assumed. So when it was revealed and it was kind of just like passed over, I wasn't really super mad or surprised, but what really shines in the first 5 minutes is like basically just the absolute tonal shift that the show takes. It becomes like 0 to 100, the most bleak, depressing show that I've ever seen, and it gut punches you pretty good. And the scene I'm talking about is obviously the scene where Jax is revealed to be abstracted. I thought this was I thought it was done very well. Basically, the scene starts with Jax coming up to Pomni, looking all disappointed, and then saying, never mind. And then he leaves, and then there's a narration. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why is Pomni narrating? Is she going to be, like, narrating the rest? Is this the the end tag of the movie where it just does stills and she's going to be narrating? But no, it's not that she's narrating. It's that the scenes are overlapping and her dialogue is from a scene from later. And then we see Jax has been abstracted. It is shocking. I like, for shock value alone, I think I can give some props to it because it is the most effective, I would say, emotional beat in the entire movie. I'm tempted to not call it a movie. It might just be the last episode of the show, if we're being honest. And you know what? I was like, holy shit. God damn, they actually killed him off. Jax is an interesting character, but I wouldn't say he is a fun character to watch, nor is he a character that I particularly like all that much. In fact, I kind of hate him. I think you're supposed to hate him, and even still, if I'm supposed to hate him, and the point is that I hate him, it still doesn't stop me from not liking him being in the show. There are characters in fiction that are assholes, and we actually enjoy watching them, while having a media-literate brain enough to not endorse these people. I think of, like, I don't know, like, just for recency, I guess, like, Marty Supreme. Total piece of shit asshole. But the entire movie is just like go, 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 and his unwavering willingness to roll with the punches is compelling enough that we, in a way, root for him, but in a way that doesn't endorse him. It's pretty clear that, you know, he's a piece of shit. Another maybe example I could use is like Rick from Rick and Morty. Piece of shit, you know, grandfather that is super mean to his entire family, and he would be extraordinarily unlikable. But characters like this have different traits in order to make them endearing to audiences. For instance, they are funny. Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty is a funny character. We laugh at him being an asshole. On top of that, he is extraordinarily competent. You need to balance out character flaws with things that make you at least a little bit compelling to an audience. Jax is just all flaws, zero likability, and he's just kind of a blight on the entire show, in my opinion. But I will say this. There are asshole characters in fiction that are kind of like stand-ins for like male insecurity. You see it a lot in like high school media, like things where the archetypal jock character is supposed to be this kind of commentary on male insecurity and manly bravado in a way that is extraordinarily shallow. It's what I would call like dude bro and nothing else. Dude bro and nothing else characters. These characters suck. I think like the best description I can think of is like the character from Nimona. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Nimona, but there's a character who's like literally meant to just be an idiot, asshole, and also annoying. To make the lamest, most unfunny jokes and to say, look at how stupid this dude bro masculine archetype is. It's a very lazy, non-interesting way in order to make a character and to make a bad guy. And I will give Jax his flowers. He is not that. Jax is unlikable. He is hard to watch, and he is extraordinarily annoying the entire time you ever watch him. I really do not like the portrayal that Michael Kovac does for Jax. Every time he speaks, he has this like cocky, stupid, shit-eating voice that I just can't even handle. Like I really dislike it. I don't even think Michael Kovac is a bad voice actor. I don't think he's great. And I don't really understand why there's like a court judicial order to have him in every single animated indie pilot there is. But I do think he does do like a fairly decent enough job on most of what he does. But his idea of what Jax is supposed to be is so annoying. This is my Jax impression. God damn, Pomni, you shouldn't have done that, you stupid bitch. Why didn't you kill yourself, you stupid bitch? That's Jax. That's how he fucking sounds. I guess he's supposed to be like this cocky asshole type, but he comes off as so annoying that it doesn't come off as cool. It's just irritating to be around. So he's a pretty hard character to like, but I do think there is a shred of intrigue within his most unlikable traits. He is not a shallow, one-dimensional, insecure, masculine archetype. And I think that really shines in especially the episode 6, where he gets a little bit of depth. This boy is deep, brother. You see, he is an asshole because he puts on a mask so that he doesn't have to connect with other people because of trauma. We've seen this shit before. It's a pretty bulk standard character, but I will say, it is more three-dimensional than some indie animated pilots. He has a mask. He puts on a mask. That's what the point of the mask is to mask his feelings. He's actually depressed. So now getting into real big bulk standard critiques of episode 9. I think the most obvious, simple, most obvious critique of the episode itself. I'm not really aware of what the conversations are of Amazing Digital Circus online, what the criticisms are in the popular zeitgeist at the moment. I don't have Twitter, because I'm not a fucking troglodyte. So I don't actually know if this is like, everybody is like, oh, this is the main critique, this is obvious. But to me, it's so painfully obvious that it's kind of offensive that they didn't do this, which is, this episode should have been 2 episodes. So I honestly think, I know this might sound weird because the episode is almost an hour long, and it's like, oh, okay, so you want 2 30-minute episodes? Do you think that would really truly make a difference? And I do think that would help. The concept of episode 9 itself is basically already 2 episodes, except one episode is 45 minutes, and then the other episode is 10 minutes long, and it shows. The 45-minute episode is basically a dissection of Jax. So I think you can understand why I don't like it that much. But even still, I do think there is some interesting things to be done in that episode. If it was 2 episodes, I think that I still wouldn't like episode 9, and I probably would like episode 10, but I think I could live with that. We say, hey, it's Jax, he dies, and we get to now commemorate his character, which makes sense, you know, that's good, in a way that is nice to, you know, the viewers, at least. I would have cut at least 20 minutes of the melodrama, and I would have added a lot more Pomni perspective. Episode 9 is one of the most detached episodes in the entire series. It's kind of like beat per beat per beat. They don't truly flow into each other, and they don't fully stick to Pomni as a character. And it's pretty obvious that they're doing that so that they could give Jax his big outro, I guess. But that truly does suffer with viewer perspective, unfortunately. Pomni is your classic audience surrogate character. She isn't particularly deep. She's kind of just there in order to make the audience understand, because she's our perspective character, right? And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that's actually a good thing. It works for the show that it's in very, very well. But yes, every scene is very disconnected, especially at the start of the episodes. And I think that it works very well for the gut punch, but not really anything else. Because right after the gut punch of the moment where we're like, oh my god, Jax is dead, it just kind of moves on. And I do like the idea of the characters moving on very quickly. I did actually very much enjoy the fact that a lot of them struggled to be sad that Jax was dead. I thought that was interesting, you know? And, you know, it made sense narratively. But then the show just kind of just goes straight into a different scene where Pomni suddenly has a plan, and they're already dealing with Jax, but we don't get to see any of her thought process. We also need a comfortable reason to how she would know that she could potentially go into Jax's mind in the first place. Her plan is just to hug him, and then it works. And it does seem like she's like doing it very confidently, but we don't know why she's doing it very confidently. It is narratively confusing, and it's also like we could have had some Pomni scheming, you know? You missed the opportunity of Pomni to be like, oh, I noticed this thing, or oh, I am seeing that Jax is, you know, being more calm in the darkness. That's properly foreshadowed. But then maybe
she like sees that there's this interaction between like Pomni and like the beast of Jax, and she like maybe touches Jax and then she sees a memory and that's how she knows. But instead, no, she just full on goes straight into it. But we don't know that that happened. We don't know that if you hug an abstraction, you enter their mind. And they stole that from my girl Pomni. Okay, what the fuck is happening right now? And I think I know why they did this. It's because they wanted to spend 35 minutes or so inside of Jax's psyche so we can really get to know his character thoroughly in and thoroughly out. Now, I was going to comment on the fact that Pomni goes into Jax's mind and she sees a hallway full of doors. And I was like, this might be overplayed by now. Like, I can name 2 very significant animated cartoons that have done this exact same thing. I don't know if this is like a trope or like a cliche to have inside someone's mind, you go through doors to experience different memories or different parts of psyche. I remember feeling like it was overblown in Owl House, and the only other time I saw it was in Gravity Falls. So when they did that, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think narratively it's fine. It's a visual cue and it helps us as an audience. That's a nitpick. It's not even an actual criticism. Damn, these take a while to grow. This is rough. This is rough pumpkins here. Jeez. So through this dissection of Jax's mind, we get Ribbit, the frog character, and might I just say, her design, this is not, I'm not weird for saying this, okay? They made the frog sexy, okay? They did that, all right? They did, it's not, I'm not weird for thinking the frog is sexy, okay? I need to stress this point. They are weird for making the frog have fat fucking ass, okay? It's not my fault. Of course, the purpose of the introduction of Ribbit, which up until this point, we do kind of assume that Jax is pushing people away because he doesn't want to get connected to anybody, because Ribbit died and abstracted. And Jax doesn't want to connect to anybody anymore because of, you know, trauma or whatever. So we do get that, and I do think that's still a valid interpretation, but we also get the new reveal that Jax, not only, one, caused Ribbit's demise, which I did kind of theorize before, but also that basically Jax has, like, super ultra trust issues, that he basically, I don't know, was abused by his mom, and also he is trans, which I don't have a problem with, okay, politically, okay? I have a problem with narratively, because I don't think the trans reveal is properly foreshadowed. I don't know. Maybe this is because I'm like, you know, a guy who's not gay. The entire, like, I don't know, his insecure masculinity wasn't insecure masculinity. It was him not wanting to be a man, which I'm just like, okay, this reframes some things. I don't think that reframes it well enough. It feels like a retcon to me. I don't know. I'm kind of diving into territory I'm not very well versed or familiar with. So it's like, I don't know, is toxic masculinity a common trait of transness? And would that even be considered foreshadowing in a narrative sense? I don't think so. Were there any people who called it? Like, I remember, like, when Spider-Verse came out, everybody was saying Gwen Stacy was trans, which, by the way, that is also very stupid to me in my mind. But, like, is this a Gwen Stacy situation in which they were correct? Did people call it? Were people saying, oh, Jax is trans from the beginning? I don't think so. To me, it came out of nowhere. That's my opinion. But ultimately, that is kind of like not an actual point of contention I really care about. I would be like, I'd probably say it would still come out of nowhere. But as long as the pacing was good, the melodrama was cut down by at least 20 minutes. We need some concise, good, emotional moments that are not so drawn out to the point where I'm just like, oh, God, this is so, like, fake, I guess. I didn't believe any of it. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about the Jax part of the episode. But now we move on to the real sin I have for this episode, and that is the fact that the last 10 minutes is of, I don't know if these time periods are correct. I only watched it once, but I do remember it being very, very, very short. The last 10 minutes of the film is dedicated to Caine. Caine has returned. He is still alive.
I kind of thought that was gonna happen, but I also was like, it could have also not happened. And guess what? Caine's my freaking favorite character. He's funny. I like his goofiness. I like how insane he is. I liked him even becoming evil. But here we are, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is left. This is all we got for Caine. It's not the fact that he gets redeemed. I like the fact that Caine is redeemed. I really do. But goddamn, does it feel rushed. It feels so rushed. They spent so long redeeming Jax that they didn't spend any time redeeming the main villain of the entire show. And they just rush over it. He immediately dies, right? And we're like, oh, he's gone forever, okay? And then it's just revealed that he's still alive. He actually is only, he only teleported to the void. What I would have liked a lot more would have been a bit more of a abstract interpretation, much like at the start of episode 8, where it has like the little dots and all the code and stuff. I would have much preferred something like that. And then we get like the little hints of Caine coming back. I always do this. I always just wander around my farm whenever I'm trying to talk. Little hints of that Caine is coming back, and then we get like the big reveal. Caine is like sorting his code, recreating himself. I would have really liked a scene of Caine recreating himself, and I also wouldn't have liked any dialogue to show that he's still like kind of dead at this moment. But no, he has full autonomy over his mind and body at this moment, and he's already having conversations with himself in which he can redeem himself in the matter of 30 seconds. He literally says, no, I hate them. And then he goes, no, but I disappointed them. And then he goes, no, but I hate them. He does the Gollum thing. He really does do the Gollum thing, and it's not set up for laughs, okay? This is also a big fucking complaint I have. The entire Caine section, not a single joke. How the fuck did you not make a single joke in the Caine section of the movie? What the fuck are you doing? He's Caine. He's the funny one. By the way, this is also a nitpick I have. Fucking Jax says he's the funny one. He is not the funny one. Jax has never said anything funny in his whole entire fucking career. He is now fully redeemed because they deleted him, which means like, oh, he's like, oh, I disappointed them. That immediately makes him redeemed. No, that's stupid. We need some character arcs here. I would have loved vindictive, evil Caine, and then he goes on like this kind of abstract, surrealist adventure of self-discovery. This is kind of my fan fiction right now. And then he is fully redeemed at that point. I would have believed that. Okay, but instead we get one Gollum scene, and then he is already redeemed. It takes 30 seconds. It takes 30 seconds for him to be redeemed. It's ridiculous. And then he comes back, and then he tells the cast what their real identities are doing, and then the show is over. Okay, that's the show. Good for them. All right, thanks. I've seen nothing but positive feedback about the finale, but I legitimately think it is the worst episode of Amazing Digital Circus to ever be created, and this is how I would have fixed it, okay? 2 episodes, obviously. We have our Jax episode. I get that this is important to a lot of people. I get that people actually like Jax sometimes. So I would do that. I would cut out so much of the Ribbit stuff. Pretty much all of it. I legitimately do not even think she needs to be a character. I kind of like the idea of her just being this, you know, looming presence of Jax's emotions. And maybe she'll have a line here or two, but the conversation on the bed where they're about to fuck, but then instead they talk about their feelings. What a cock block, by the way. Yeah, I think most of that would go away. If you want trans Jax, I could maybe wedge it in there somewhere. It already was kind of wedged in anyways. By the way, another nitpick. Jax doesn't admit to being trans in the episode. So I don't know how Ribbit knew that Jax was trans. Why did Ribbit know to put the bow on Jax's head? He just talked about his mom abusing him, didn't he? Did he say anything about wanting to be a girl? I don't remember. I was kind of high when I watched it. I would maybe give 10 minutes of Jax time. We could have Pomni go through his mind. We could do all that shit. And it's going to actually be mostly the gang dealing with Jax's death. I would want some more conversations between Pomni and Zooble and Gangle and Kinger, obviously. Kinger's a big one. Kinger's also one of my favorites. He's also a good character. All the others, I just couldn't give a shit about. Kinger, Caine, and Pomni are the only characters I actually care about. I care about Jax, though. I do care about Jax. I just hate him. It's a different kind of caring. I would have a lot more of them discussing, maybe a little bit more of a discussion of how to deal with Jax, and then I would overlap having to deal with Jax with their emotions intertwined. So we would have this practical nature of the narrative trying to get Jax, or like calm him down, basically. This would be a big plot point in the Jax episode, in my mind, would be to get him to calm down. And then we would also have Zooble obviously being the biggest detractor and like the complainer, basically, to initiate the conversation about Jax in which they actually do this thing. Because I would always want practicality to move in with our emotional conversations. I think that's a very good way of narratively telling a story. Like something that moves the narrative forward, that we're not just kind of lazily staying on our characters. We are actually, you know, doing two birds with one stone. And then, of course, they would figure it out, and then they would put Jax into tent. Pomni would hug him, and there would be some foreshadowing of like how they would figure it out that she can go into his mind, and then maybe would have like, I'm gonna go into his mind, and then we would have the other characters be like, what, are you crazy? You'll die! You know, that kind of thing. And then I would have her going through the doors, maybe just opening doors, looking in, closing doors. She does it in the show, but it takes a while, so we're gonna cut so much of that shit. We cut basically all of the Ribbit stuff, except for a couple. I think a good like maybe 5 or 6 hints. And we could also have like a couple lines from Ribbit, but not a full conversation. I really don't think that's a good idea. We have the more of the suggestion of the fact that Jax was partially responsible for Ribbit's death. I think that's very effective. That works very well. And then we have the scene where Pomni hugs him and he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. That was really good. You know what? I like that scene. I didn't like it when I watched it because I was so done with the episode, but retroactively, I do kind of like it. Then we end the episode there. And that would be the most bleak episode of Amazing Digital Circus. But it's fine. We get our emotional dues, you know? We're done, okay? Oh, I forgot to mention, at the end of episode 9 is a teaser that Caine is still alive. And that's it. And that will be the end. Like maybe an end credit scene. We do the Marvel end credit scene. Caine is still alive. What? And then episode 10, fully Caine's perspective for the first half. And then we go, Caine is slowly trying to recreate himself. Caine then goes through a surrealist self-exploration, comes to an understanding. He maybe meets Abel. Maybe he even talks to Abel. You ever think of that? Maybe not. Abel doesn't need to talk, but you know, you could write something around that. And then Abel teaches him the right way, and then he becomes a good guy, and now he's fucking redeemed, okay? So we spend like a good 15 minutes on Caine. Maybe less, but more. I would say definitely more time on his redemption. And then the end of it, Caine comes back. And then I would like, this is the thing, I would like some plot, okay? I would like a reveal. And I don't think it just should be explaining what CNA is and how they got the brain scans, as that is like a laundry list of stuff that should have been checked off, but wasn't. It's actually kind of insane that we never ever get to figure out exactly what CNA was doing making Caine. Why did they create an AI? Why did they abandon their building so that Pomni can scan her brain in it? These are questions that I think probably should have been answered. And although I do think that, yes, absolutely, in this episode, we 100% should answer those questions, I do think that we need something more than the checklist, the laundry list of stuff that probably should have been answered. That's a pretty big criticism of the episode, I would say. I didn't even mention that. I do think that we do need that. But then we also need another plot significant thing that could maybe shift the status quo a little bit further, that is a bigger reveal. And it doesn't matter what reveal it is. I have like suggestions, but of course these are all fan theories. I would want more of the gang kind of like questioning Caine in order to kind of activate this kind of reveal. We need something crazy. And my suggestion is actually Max Gallardi's suggestion. He made a very funny video about how he wanted Amazing Digital Circus to end. And I could maybe come up with something else, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go with that. His suggestion was actually that the Amazing Digital Circus is set after the apocalypse where all of humanity is dead. That's a pretty bleak ending for an already bleak show at this point, so maybe not that one. But I think there has to be something. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Perhaps we wouldn't have too much time left, or maybe we should just go with the regular ending of how it's just the people are there in the world and they're living their lives and then they do it, which is fine. I don't actually have a problem with the fact that, you know, their real selves are out in the world. I'm just saying we needed some lore. We needed something to have a bit more intrigue or mystery, but I guess there's just not enough time in the episode to do like an actual setup and payoff of something that grandiose. So maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we wouldn't do that. Anyways, That's my freaking epic review of Has Been Hotel. I hope you enjoyed. I think I've been talking for like about an hour right now, that I kind of think that this is just going to be the end of the episode. Oopsie poopsie. Oh, I do want to show off what I've done. Unfortunately, I'm not extraordinarily efficient when it comes to yapping and then also building at the same time, but I'll show you. I finished the greenhouse. I think it looks very nice. I have a little desk here, and then this will be a display of all of the potions that I'm gonna have, and then up here, we're gonna have even more potions. We're just gonna just plop down all these potions here, and then maybe put some shelves up here and even more potions. You know, just to, you know, really get it through that this is a potion shop, obviously. It's not done, but it's good enough. I can't believe I didn't make a potion in this episode, and instead I just talked about the amazing digital circus. But fuck you, this is my channel, I can do what the fuck I want. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This has been Darken the Sky. Have a good one. Next time I'll make Marcus's movie moments timed. I gotta like put a timer on this shit so that I don't actually talk about this the entire episode. Jesus Christ.